What is up, everybody? Escape211 here, and we're doing a comparison video today. I haven't done one of these in like months, and I thought it'd be a good time to compare. We got Gatecrasher and Onyx over here, our two big legendary 32 energy boys. And I know that these two often get talked about in similar circles and compared a lot, so I thought this would be a good one to address. So yeah, let's get into it. Here we go. All right, so first we're going to look at the stats, and I got Onyx stats up here on screen, but between him and Gatecrasher, they're both legendary grade, which they'll have similar stats in that way, and both have 32 energy. But when we look specifically at Onyx, he has pretty decent HP and speed. His HP, when you max it all the way out, will be 198,900, and then if you were to max it out with like a high-end pilot, that's 278,460. All right, so pretty beefy stats. He's actually the fourth highest stats for HP in the game right now, and his speed is 18, so he's no slouch. He's not really super fast, but he's got some decent speed behind him. So stats wise, he's pretty much on par with probably where he should be, and maybe a little bit higher, especially because he's legendary. All right. Now, if we move over to Gatecrasher, and I got his stats up as well, he is also no slouch, and in my opinion, just has some really incredible stats to look at, especially when we look at those HP and the speed values. Obviously, first off, his speed is going to be higher. It's 21 speed, and that is pretty dang high, but his HP is also really good, all right? His max HP is 221,600, and then if we add like a max, pilot to add on to that, he can max out at 310,240 HP. So he has the third highest HP, which is one step above Onyx, but because of his speed and the fact that he's 32 energy, this dude is actually the fastest 32 energy mech in the game right now. All right, that is nothing to sneeze at. He actually is faster than Panther at the other 32 energy. Now his ability isn't as good. I don't think he's as high as Panther, but I mean, being the fastest at 32 energy is pretty incredible, especially considering that he has so much HP to boot with that. So as far as stats go, I have to put this in favor of Gatecrasher. He just maxes out his stats better and has that crazy high speed. Next, we're going to look at the ability, and we're going to start with Gatecrasher. He has the ion pod, which shoots out this little tiny pod thing, a trajectory. If it hits a moving object, a mech, it will explode after a delay, and if it hits a stationary object, it will explode on the opposite side of it and then leave a beam there that does damage over time. Pretty neat, flexible ability. There's a lot of potential uses for this, for either like directly damaging a mech or pulling them out of cover or hitting them behind cover. Heck, you can even put this on your own teammates and turn them into a mobile bomb. A lot of cool functions, creative ways you can use this ability, but because it's super flexible and because the trajectory of the ion pod is slow, even though it has a long potential range, it can be really hard to hit your target because it's easy for it to automatically like hit some other item or just mess up your trajectory. All right, this isn't something like when you use it on Orion where you can actually lock and it will try to track or follow your target. This just shoots straight, so it's not easy to hit your target with it. But, a lot of fun. I love the way this thing kind of functions. It also does some pretty significant damage, all right? This thing can do 60,000 damage, which is nothing to sneeze at, all right? Pretty darn effective overall. So I can see the viability of this here, even though it can lag a little bit behind more, direct or intuitive abilities in the game. Now, Onyx's ability is a little bit more straightforward, all right? This is a quad rocket shoulder cannon that just straight does damage. Very intuitive, very straightforward to use in that sense. And this thing is also like crazy fast in terms of its travel speed, its trajectory, and the amount of damage it can do. This is actually the highest damaging ability in the game in terms of single shot damage. If you want to talk about overall damage, I think Cheetah technically with its mines will do more, just in terms of its stat sheet or raw damage. But when this thing lands, it does 69,833, which doesn't sound like a whole lot more than the one that Gatecrasher has. But, there's no delay in the shot, and you could shoot it over a small, type of obstacles like I'm doing here, where your shoulder kind of sticks out, and it is one that has a blast radius. This is a big deal. The blast radius on this functions a lot like a disc launcher blast. It's not quite as large, but it's still pretty significant, especially if you put on the epic or legendary implant, and because of that, it is very good in the potential of getting side and back damage, and because you can get that kind of stuff, this can do tremendous damage. And with that, if you're good with your shots, you will definitely even do more than the 3 cheetah mines, which is pretty impressive. I mean, in terms of an ability damage, there's nothing else like this in the game, so it's quite significant. And for that alone, and based on its intuitiveness, it is hard for me not to say that this is the better ability. Yes, I certainly love the creativity and the flexibility of Gatecrasher's ability, but the pure raw damage you can get out of this weapon if you use it well is pretty impressive for an ability, so I gotta put this category in favor of Onyx. Now, the other category I would usually do is based on availability, but right now, there's really only one way to get this in the game, and that's to pay for it or get lucky with either some kind of playoff or something like that. That is going to change, and we are going to have the progress path. I have no idea where these are going to fall or how much they're going to cost on the progress path, but since they are both legendary and 32 energy, I'm assuming the cost is going to be either the same or very close, and they're probably going to be toward the end of the new progress path, probably one of the last tiers. So with that kind of stuff said, I don't really want to focus on availability. I kind of just want to give my end or overall opinion. All right, obviously Onyx is going to be one that's going to put forth a ton of damage, and there's a lot of good potential there, but I also think because he doesn't have as much in the way of defense and he has less HP and less speed, I think there's a little bit of vulnerability to this mech. I also feel like because he's slow, poking my head out to use the rocket is a bit more of a pain, and even though the ability of Gatecrasher takes a little bit longer, the speed at which I can pop out, come back in, get to places, dodge mortars, that kind of stuff feels more significant to me when I'm talking about regular play. Now, I will say when it comes to like 2v2 modes or something like that, you're probably going to get better benefits with Onyx just because that banking and that ability kind of stuff is going to come in very handy. But I think for overall general play in the game, you're going to get more mileage out of Gatecrasher by a small margin, in my opinion. So I'm going to have to give this, even though it's pretty darn close, in favor of Gatecrasher for this one. Alright, so that is the video, you guys. Like I said, I did put this in favor of Gatecrasher for this one, but that is obviously subjective, alright? I think it is a really close race, and there are probably reasons why you would pick Onyx over him. One thing I will say is that, man, I love the look of Onyx. I think as far as the mech goes, he looks like super menacing. He also has some pretty sweet looking skins. Like this one is one I commonly see because it looks super good, but he's got some great ones. I will say that Gatecrasher, you know, he looks kind of like a baby brickhouse to me. All right, he's a chonky looking boy, so I don't love the look of this guy. I hope they put out some really cool skins for him, but you know, that's just a side note. So bonus points, I guess, for Onyx to put it pretty close again. I don't know, but either way, guys, let me know what you think between these two mechs. Which do you think is going to be better and why? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions as well, as usual, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.